YouTube, weird camera angle because I want to show you all this stuff. I'm making coffee. It's the morning. I haven't had coffee yet, so that's fun. But basically, with the with current events, shall we say, I've had a desire for better coffee, and I spent a while learning how to make coffee, and I wanted to share my learnings with you. So here we are. First and foremost, this is the evolved form of my coffee making. The early fast solution to better coffee was this. Use a whisk on your milk. Whisk up your milk and add it to your coffee, and the coffee will be much better, closer to a latte. Honey as sweetener is great. This is actually the fancy whisk I have since ordered. So this is much better than taking this and spinning it through your hands really fast for a while, because that got tiring after 2 weeks of that. All right, so maybe you can hear the water boiling. I don't know. So this is the Wacaco Nanopresso. It's cool. It's tiny. It's this little like nesting doll thing. It holds a bunch of stuff and makes espresso. And how it does that is you put your coffee in this little basket, and there's this little cap that's going to go in the basket that has this nice fine metal mesh. There's tiny, tiny holes in here. And this thing has a spring on it, so basically the force has to be great enough to force it through this and depress the spring, and then your espresso will come out the side. To get it that high, though, you basically have this little water container that sits in here, and when you pump this thing, it pressurizes the water out here through the coffee basket and out the valve. So, hopefully I'll do this all right on camera and not screw up any part of this. Coffee. So it also comes with your little basket thing, little cleaning tool, and your scoop. So grab your favorite, probably espresso beans. This is not actually espresso. This is a dark roast peat house blend. I got some actual espresso beans, but I'm finishing these first, and it seems to make espresso to me. I don't know a ton about coffee, but it's good. I like it, and it has made my coffee experience better. Coffee, apparently, as I've researched it more, is really confusing, and there's all sorts of things. What's great with this, you can kind of just like put the basket on top of that and flip it. It's got like these little retaining things to not lose it all. And then use the bottom of this guy to tamp it. When you are making espresso, you do want to actually compact the things. And actually for this particular thing, it says you ideally want 4 millimeters of space, because this has to fit into there, mostly. So that guy's going to go there, and then this guy's going to get screwed on top. Cool, the Nanopresso is now loaded. We have some beans in there. We don't need the beans anymore. We do need the hot water, which has been boiling off camera. But it's, of course, got a power cord going under the camera tripod. Cool, so now that we have a minuscule amount of hot water, we fill this to the fill line. Which, do not pass the fill line. That's very important. Also, make sure you boil enough water, because if you only boil a tiny bit of water hoping to fill the cup, you'll boil off more water than you thought and not make enough to do your video. So this is going to be a half shot of espresso, and I'm okay with that. We're going to see what happens. I actually am doing this later in the day than normal, which is why I'm up to the task of recording it, because I was trying to not have coffee for a while and see how I felt. All right, so with that loaded, this is actually your glass. You flip that, and then you just pump this, and after a few times, it's gonna start coming out, and then you pump a few more times until it's all the way out. And as I said, I didn't get enough water that I boiled, so this isn't really a full shot, but that's all right. The process is still the same. And this has a little twisty lock thing. So this will be a weak cup of coffee. Well, it'll be strong espresso. I can do less milk and it'll just be a smaller glass. But end product, you can see we have espresso with crema or whatever they call it. In the videos, they always say it's high quality crema, but I look at it and I can't tell you what's good or bad with it. So we're gonna do a little bit of milk in our cup. Now the trick here, a tiny mug works great if you're using a whisk. If you're using an electric thing that has way too much power, it's gonna send the milk everywhere. So now you just throw your milk in the microwave. I've been doing about 50 seconds. The ideal way would be to use a stovetop and a thermometer and like do it right. And there's a specific temperature, like 165 or something like that you're supposed to get to. But that's not that important. Suppose I could have done this while not on video or while I was doing the espresso part or something. I guess while that's going though, I can start the breakdown now that this is done. Oh, and I wanted to say, as I said, do not go past the fill line in this, because if you do, then while you're screwing this together, water is going to go upward and spurt out the sides, and it's going to be boiling hot because you just boiled it, and it might burn you. So don't want to burn yourself. I saw some people in reviews complain about it leaking, and I think they're just overfilling the cup, because I did it once and learned. But this thing's great. Now we've done this, we grab the frothy thing, and we do a little bit of frothing, send froth and milk everywhere. And now the amount you froth is actually relevant to what drink you're making, and I can't tell you all about that. I just aim to froth a little bit. I don't use the double frother. And then I just pour in the espresso, and boom, we're just about done. I like to add a little honey, add some vanilla syrup if you got that. Just a drop of honey, really. I don't know much. That was actually probably more than I should have. Grab yourself a stirring implement. And then you have your very fine looking drink.